After spending 12 long years in prison, Eddie Palmer returns to his quiet hometown in Louisiana, carrying with him the burden of a criminal past and the haunting mistakes of youth. With nowhere else to go, he moves in with his grandmother, Vivian, a strong-willed and deeply religious woman who raised him when no one else would. Vivian lives a modest life in a small, weathered house nestled at the edge of a sleepy rural town. Her warm, steady presence is the only anchor Eddie has left. As Eddie tries to readjust to life on the outside, the town's gossip swirls. The locals remember what he did. Whispers follow him wherever he goes, at church, in the grocery store, and even during job interviews. No one seems willing to give a second chance to a man with a violent past. Yet, Vivian believes in redemption. She urges him to be patient and reminds him that change takes time. Under her roof, Eddie begins a slow, difficult journey toward rebuilding his life. Next door lives a troubled woman named Shelley, a drug addict who drifts in and out of her child's life. Her young son, Sam, is an extraordinary little boy with a kind heart and a love for fairy tales and princesses. Sam's gentle spirit and unique personality stand out in a town that values conformity over self-expression. Often left to fend for himself, Sam finds comfort in Vivian, who takes him in whenever Shelley disappears. Vivian, in turn, teaches Sam kindness, patience, and how to bake biscuits. At first, Eddie doesn't know what to make of Sam. The boy's femininity, love for glitter, and soft voice clash with Eddie's notions of what boys should be like. But over time, Eddie begins to see past the surface. He watches as Sam faces bullying and ridicule from kids who don't understand him. Eddie sees himself in the boy, not in how he looks or acts, but in the loneliness. Slowly, a bond begins to form between the ex-con and the child. They find common ground in their pain, and gradually, mutual trust grows. One morning, tragedy strikes. Vivian dies in her sleep. Eddie is devastated, left alone in the world once more. But Sam, grieving too, clings to Eddie. With Shelley still nowhere to be found, Eddie becomes Sam's caretaker by default. He doesn't plan it. He doesn't even want it. But the boy needs someone. And so, Eddie steps up. Despite his criminal record, Eddie finds a job as a janitor at the local elementary school. He keeps his head down, does his work quietly, and avoids trouble. At the school, he meets Maggie, Sam's kind and observant teacher. She notices the change in Sam, he's happier, more focused, and credits Eddie for the improvement. Maggie begins to see past Eddie's rough exterior and recognizes the tenderness he shows toward the boy. One evening, Eddie and Sam talk honestly for the first time. Sam admits he once stole a toy from a classmate and feels terrible about it. Eddie confesses he stole, too, and asks Sam if he thinks the girl would feel better getting her toy back. Encouraged by Eddie's honesty, Sam bravely returns the toy the next day. It's a small act, but it means everything. For the first time, Eddie feels like he's doing something right. He's not just surviving anymore, he's making a difference. As Sam's birthday approaches, Eddie plans a celebration. It's modest but full of love. Maggie and her daughter Emily attend, and Sam is delighted. Eddie gifts Sam a ukulele, even though the boy isn't particularly musical. The gesture speaks louder than the object itself. Eddie is trying. That night, Maggie learns from Danny, a teenager living nearby, that his mother abandoned him, and Vivian had stepped in to raise him. Moved, Maggie offers to help Eddie go through Vivian's mail. Among the stacks, they discover a letter from a lawyer. According to Vivian's will, her house and all her belongings are to be sold and donated to the local church. Eddie is left with just $5,000 and 30 days to move out. The news crushes Eddie. Just as he was beginning to build a life, it feels like the ground is being pulled from beneath his feet. But he doesn't have time to wallow. Sam needs him. Especially now, when he's being bullied more than ever at school. Eddie doesn't hesitate to step in, intimidating the bullies with a fierce glare. Sam, inspired by Eddie's support, tells him about a fairy princess club he wants to join. Eddie, uncomfortable, tries to discourage him, saying boys aren't usually part of that show. But Sam won't budge. He knows who he is and refuses to let the world change him. Halloween arrives, and Sam chooses to dress as Princess Penelope. Eddie hesitates but allows it. At the store, an old woman insults Eddie, calling him a criminal and questioning his right to raise a child. Sam defends Eddie, proudly declaring that Palmer is a good man. The words hit Eddie hard. He's not used to being seen as good. For once, he believes it might be true. At the school Halloween party, other kids mock Sam, calling him Samantha. But the principal walks in dressed as a woman, standing in solidarity with Sam. It's a powerful moment of acceptance. That night, Maggie invites Eddie and Sam over for dinner. Sam, now completely comfortable, chats happily as he eats dessert. Maggie asks Eddie about prison, and he opens up. He talks about his football career, the injury that ended it, and the downward spiral that led to a home invasion gone wrong. It's painful, but he shares it honestly. Days later, Sam is invited to Emily's house again. While he's away, Eddie begins researching how to become Sam's legal guardian. He even visits Maggie's classroom to ask for help donating Vivian's things. But then, Sam runs in crying. Daryl, Shelley's abusive boyfriend, had hurt him. Sam confesses he was playing dress-up when Daryl and another man mocked him, held him down, and smeared makeup on his face. Eddie, enraged, confronts Daryl at a bar and beats him. His old rage reemerges, shocking Maggie. She walks away, disappointed. The next morning, Eddie apologizes to Sam, assuring him it wasn't his fault. Wanting to support him, Eddie helps Sam write a letter to the Fairy Princess Club. Just as they finish, Shelley arrives at the door, looking sick and fragile. She announces she wants Sam back. Eddie, crushed, watches as Sam clings to him, not wanting to go. But there's nothing he can do. Desperate, Eddie buries himself in work. Maggie tries to comfort him, but he's too lost in guilt. Then, one morning, Sam shows up on the porch. Jerry, Shelley's boyfriend, had thrown out his lunchbox and insulted him. Eddie comforts the boy and takes him to school. Later, he hears that Sam will soon move in with Jerry and change schools. Then, a bombshell, Child Protective Services has taken Sam away. Shelley breaks down, saying she failed. Eddie rushes to the station and learns that unless she gets clean, Sam will be placed in foster care. Eddie begs her to sign over custody. She refuses, accusing him of trying to buy her child. Left with no other choice, Eddie asks Maggie to accompany him to court. At the hearing, Eddie explains he wants to raise Sam, but the judge rules against him. Then Shelley bursts in, pleading for her son back. The judge agrees, placing Sam in her custody. But it's not over. Eddie soon realizes that Shelley hasn't changed. After another explosive fight between her and Jerry, Eddie takes Sam and runs. At a gas station, Eddie calls Maggie. She tells him Shelley has reported him to the police. Eddie, realizing the consequences, turns himself in. Sam cries as Eddie is arrested, screaming that his mother never loved him. In jail, Eddie receives surprising news. Shelley changed her story, saying she asked Eddie to take Sam to get food. With the charges dropped, Eddie is free. He rushes to Maggie's house and embraces Sam. Soon after, Shelley returns, but Sam refuses to speak to her. Realizing she can't give him the life he deserves, Shelley signs over custody to Eddie. With tears in their eyes, mother and son say goodbye. Eddie and Sam move into a new home, ready to start fresh. One day, Sam receives a letter. It's from the Fairy Princess Club. His face lights up. Together, he and Eddie step into a new chapter, full of hope. Their story isn't perfect, but it's real. It's about second chances, found family, and the power of acceptance. It's about a man who was broken and a boy who taught him how to heal.